Well, it's 2024, it's a new year, and today is going to be Tunisian Tuesday. And I already have cats running around here like crazy. As you saw, they knocked the lights, so there was a little bit of movement. I'd started this before. They grabbed a hold of the clicker and turned it off, turned it on. So I'm restarting. Anyway, I know there are a couple of channels that are doing Tunisian Tuesday, so it's going to be interesting to see what each one of us comes up with, what we're doing on our channels. So I hope that you will join all of us in that endeavor. For many of you, Tunisian crochet is a crochet that I've done several times before. I do enjoy it. It is a little bit of a slower crochet. There's a little bit more of a process to it. So, yeah. Anyway, one of the channels that's doing it is Leanne of Nina's Knots Crochet. She is doing a Tunisian Tuesday as well, and I can't remember who else is doing it. I was watching someone else and they said that they were going to be doing it. So anyway, I hope that you will join all of us together as we do these and we follow and do Tunisian crochet. First of all, I thought we would talk a little bit about what Tunisian crochet is. I'd show you a couple of the hooks that I have. I do have quite a number of different types of hooks, and there are different hooks and there are different names that are used for what are traditionally, actually, Tunisian crochet, just done in a different way so that they may have a different name all the way around. All right, first of all, Tunisian crochet has gone by a lot of names in the past. Many times it's known as the Afghan crochet, the tricot stitch, Scotch knitting, Princess Frederick William stitch, Princess Royal crochet stitch, shepherd's knitting, railroad crochet, railroad knitting, the idiot stitch. There are numerous stitches that it has been called by. And they originally think that the first use of Tunisian in relation to this form of crochet was in 1857 in Sweden. So the term Tunisian crochet was first found in the English dictionary in 1862. Now, Tunisian crochet is often considered a combination of crochet and knitting, and it's because it uses a crochet hook but requires you to hold all of your stitches or loops on one hook, the same way that you do as knitting. For that reason, you do need a long crochet hook or a hook with a cable attachment to accommodate the number of stitches that you are doing in your project. Many times it's going to be referred to as Afghan crochet, and the basic stitch is often referred to as the Afghan stitch, and that is one of the first stitches that we will be doing next week. May just do a couple of dishcloths with a couple of different stitches, just kind of round it out and do some fun things. I will show you a pattern that I'm planning on doing with crochet. With the Tunisian crochet. It is a baby sweater, and I'm not sure how it will go. It does use worsted weight, and it uses a cable on it. So it's going to be rather interesting to see how it goes. They found that the origins can kind of be hard to pinpoint. There was Prince William Frederick stitch. These patterns started appearing in needlework publications in the mid-1800s. Although there are many people who think that it got its start in Europe, although many for a long time thought it was started in Tunisia or Afghanistan. But actually, no one really knows where it originated. So that's kind of interesting. Now, when you're doing Tunisian crochet, in standard crochet, you work in rows. so that you're going to turn your work back and forth. However, in Tunisian crochet, there is something called a forward pass and a return pass, so that your work isn't ever turned at all. You're always looking at the front of your work, or the right side of it the entire time. And one row of Tunisian crochet involves a forward pass and a return pass. That is one row. The forward pass actually is worked right to left for those who are right-handed, and left to right for left-handed crocheters. And it's a process of getting those loops onto the hook. The forward pass oftentimes is where that stitch pattern is established, and it can include a variety of stitches. You'd be surprised how many stitches in Tunisian crochet that there are. And maybe next week I'll bring out some of the different books that I have. I have a book, I believe her name is Anna Grabowski. It is no longer in print that I know of. However, there are a ton of pictures in this describing different stitches, how to do different stitches. She did an extensive study and look into Tunisian crochet, and as far as stitches, she did a lot of work on this book. You may be able to find it in past places. I don't know. Like I said, I don't think it's in print anymore. I probably need to double check that. Probably can get back to you next week to see if it is, and which I'll bring the book next week so that you can see it. A lot of the pictures are done in black and white photos, but she does use a very good technique in showing you where to place your hook, using very nice pointers, arrows, all kinds of things, so that it's fairly easy read. Now, there are a lot of newer Tunisian crochet books that are great, and I would suggest that if you can find one, if you want to learn this and do it, start out with some of the basic stitches, because you're going to know by the time you've finished a project whether you enjoy this type of crochet or not. It is not for everyone. Like I said, it is a slower process than normal crochet, but I find that it's more of a relaxing type of crochet. And like I said, it combines that knitting crochet, so it's comfortable. So return passes, basically your forward pass normally is you will be picking up a stitch with your hook, drawing up a loop, keeping that loop onto your hook, moving on to the next stitch, picking up more stitches, to where you may have a whole long hook that is full of loops. And then the return pass normally consists of you're going to chain one, and then you will yarn over and pull through one stitch first time, yarn over and pull 2 stitches, yarn over, pull through 2, until you only have 1 stitch left on your hook. And we'll show that next week. So there are some non-standard returns, and generally your pattern will tell you whether you're going to do that or not. Generally, Tunisian crochet starts out with a foundation row, which is basically just a chain of stitches for whatever your project is. So the way that you create different stitches with Tunisian crochet depends on where you place your hook. So those are some things that we'll learn as we go. There are what they call horizontal bars that stand like the horizon, and there are vertical bars. Most of the time, when you have a typical Tunisian stitch, you're going to have 2 vertical bars. You're going to have one that is very close to you in the front, and then you're going to have one that is in the back of the stitch that is further away. And like I said, you can pick up stitches different ways. Many times you can pick up back stitches and it's going to change the look of that Tunisian stitch, so you're going to be working through that. You can also work in between the bars, so that's a rather interesting thing. And sometimes you can even pick up the horizontal bars for stitches. So yeah, that's going to be interesting to see as we go. One of the first ones that we will do is simply called the Tunisian simple stitch, and that one is fairly easy. That is basically what the Afghan stitch is based in. And so yeah, that is it kind of in a nutshell. You can also do things where you can make it look like it is a knit project. Simply in the way that you place your stitches. You can do a purl stitch with Tunisian crochet. So you're going to find this rather interesting. You can also do reverse stitches, and that changes the look of the project as well. So some of the basic things that you're going to need are some fun hooks. So we'll get into that in a moment. Typically, when you start Tunisian crochet, got a cat hair in my eye, sorry about that. You're going to skip the first stitch when you start your forward pass, and I will show that when we do start a project. Now, there is one thing that a lot of people find super annoying about Tunisian. It curls, and it does curl, and that's because of the way that the stitches are. And they always tell you to go up in your hook size to avoid the curl. Sometimes that works. I've seen where if you do your first row as a purl stitch, that keeps it from curling. There are several ways to keep it from curling. But one of the things you'll have to remember is you are going to have to block your project if you have done in Tunisian, because it will curl. There are some ways, like I said, to minimize the curl, but you're not going to completely do away with the curl. That's where blocking is your friend in Tunisian crochet. One of the biggest things is you need to count your stitches with crochet, with this. So you want to make sure that you are counting. These are some good tips to keep in mind. Count your stitches every 2 to 3 rows. If you're supposed to have 20 stitches on there and you only have 19, then you probably dropped a stitch or missed picking up a stitch. So it's a good idea to count every 2 or 3 rows just to make sure. Now, one of the things also that happens with it is Tunisian sometimes looks like it's slanted. And that is okay, because basically you are working on the bias when you are working with crochet. So again, blocking is important. So yeah. There are a lot of different hooks, and that is something we're going to look at right now. Many times your basic hook, your basic crochet hook, and this is a boy Afghan hook, you're going to see there's a stopper on one end, and these can be wooden, they can be metal, they can be plastic, all kinds of things. And then you will have your hook on the other end. This is a H hook. I would probably use this with a number 2 yarn, maybe a number 1. So that is one hook. There are double-ended hooks. You'll have a hook on this end and a hook on this end. And you'll notice this one, they actually are in the same direction. I do have some hooks where one hook goes the opposite. In other words, it's down, and then the other side is up like this one. Hope that you can see that. One end would be up like this, and then the other end would be down. This one is actually up on both ends. This is a Susan Bates, and this is a Susan Bates hook, and this is a prime example of one of those where each end is a little different. This one, the hook is downward, this one is upward, as you can see. And this is an eye hook. Like I said, I have many different hooks. This again is another double-ended hook. This is a bamboo one that I picked up off Amazon. Came in a whole series of like maybe 9 or 10 hooks, and they are all bamboo, and they are double-ended, same way as the yeah, in fact, this is how they came. Of course, I've put in my metal hooks in there as well. But it came 14-inch. These are called crow hooks. And that is something you're going to find that those that are double-ended, where you have one hook on one side and the other, are sometimes called crow hook. There was a time where crochet knit was very popular, and you can find books still, and I believe you can still get it, the kits and everything, books and things at Annie's catalog.com. But they came with a plastic hook like this, and you had a red stopper on one end and a green stopper on the other end, and basically both ends have a hook. And you have one end that the hook is down. Well, this one, both ends, both of them are down. And there was a woman that did a whole series of patterns in what she called crochet knit. Now, it's basically the same thing as Afghan crochet. There were some minor differences. Generally, you use 2 colors so that you would get 2 colors that would show through on your project. But the way that it worked is you could work all the way up. Well, you would be using your green end to work it up. You would work, and you could do as many stitches as you wanted. You could actually do more than what would hold on this hook. So you would do, say, 120 stitches. Now, normally you wouldn't be able to get this on that hook, but you would be able to work up 60 of the stitches, put your stopper up, pull up a nice big loop with the yarn, and then you could work the end with one color coming through up to the very beginning of where you had started. And then once again you could pick this hook up further down in and do those, and then with your second color bring it back. You could work a lot of projects that way. It was a rather interesting way to do that, but it is almost exactly the same as crocheting, as in Tunisian crochet. Now, there was also, at one point, something called Moe's hooks. And basically, it is just a larger hook that has a stopper on the end. These were wooden, and you could do blankets with them. And they did tell you how to do those and work in larger sections. And I have a couple of those hooks because for a while I did a lot of those things. And I did enjoy it. Can I remember how to do it? Probably not. But basically it's Tunisian crochet. So then you have what they call interchangeable hooks. Now this is a Denise set of interchangeable crochet hooks. Now technically with this you would do simple crochet, and the way that they would work is you basically hook these in And then you would have the hook on one end. You would also have the hook on the other end. With that surgery, I can't get them turned the right way, the same way. But with double-ended hooks, you could also, with these interchangeable, you could actually hook a hook on each end of your cord. Like I said, I'm having trouble because of the hand surgery, and I still have trouble turning and grasping those kind of things. But this is a set that, I don't even remember where I picked this up. Probably, well, it says Love to Crochet, and this is a K through 19 size hook. And these come in handy. They have different lengths of cords. Now, my favorite set of interchangeable are the Knitter's Pride. And with the Knitter's Pride, I found that I only use the smaller ones for smaller projects, and these three I use very rarely. These I use more often, and if you'll notice, there are 2 sets of these. Now, the actual set only comes with one of each one of these sizes, and I believe they go from E all the way up to M. And what I had done is, because I was doing projects where I needed hooks on each end, I actually purchased a second set of just the hooks. And like I said, these are Knitter's, these are not Knitter's Pride. These were Knitter's Dream. But however, Knitter's Pride also carries these. There are quite a few different ones that you can find around. And these come with a cord, and it hooks into your hook, and then you have a stopper on the end that would help hold your stitches on it. This way it allows you to use that cord to hold your stitches when you are doing your Tunisian crochet. Now, the benefit of these is, because now Knitter's Pride uses these, you can use Knitter's Pride's cords. So you don't have to buy a separate cord. And I have knitting needles from Knitter's Pride, both wooden and the silver nickel, and lots of cords, all kinds of different sizes, and of course you can buy longer cords. So that is one of the bonuses of having this, because you can interchange it with your knitting needles if you knit. Okay, now a lot of you will see that Anna Passwater uses double-ended Tunisian crochet hooks, and this is one, and you can use these for a lot of projects. And if you saw Anna's latest project, which was the owl bag that she had done, she did it in the round using 4 hooks. And you can do that. There is a technique where you use 4 or more hooks to create projects, and it's an old book. I believe it's on Goodreads. I'm not positive. I'll try to find the link for it, because I know Anna had linked it down before, where you can actually download it into your computer so that you have it as a reference. But Anna, with this project, she had made a bag, and on it she had cross-stitched the owl. It's an amazing bag, so I hope that you'll take a chance to go look at hers. And she is Tales from the Craft Room with Anna Passwater, and I will leave a link down below to her channel. So yeah, you can do a lot with these, and these do come in different sizes. However, I've found that this happens to be the normal size. These are bamboo that are made by Clover. Clover makes a lot of the crochet hooks that we use. So yeah, You can use these for those kind of projects. And I think that is about it that I have for this first video. So I hope that you will join me in the future as we go through and we learn some about Tunisian crochet and learn some patterns. I'm going to show you the pattern that I'm planning on making. This is a baby sweater, and it is the Tay Tim baby sweater. And it is a free pattern online. And that is it right there. It's a very nice pattern. And of course, they tell you the first thing that you're going to need for this is you are going to need a medium weight yarn, number 4, worsted weight. And then you are also going to need a flexible Tunisian hook. You can use a standard. However, the flexible will allow you to work around the yoke of the pattern. So that is something I'm going to do with my flexible crochet hook. And I think the hook that it uses, the hook size is an I or K. It's a K flexible hook, but you're also going to need an I hook as well for this. So I'm looking forward to doing this. This does make a sweater that's about 3 months in size. That's okay. Babies grow, you know, and some babies are big when they're born. So that is one of the projects that I will be starting in the new year. But when we start this process, we're basically just going to do some typical knit stitches. We'll learn those first, Tunisian crochet. We'll learn some of those typical stitches that you would use for your projects. And then we will get into some different projects throughout the year. I'm looking forward to it, and like I said, I'm working on creating an afghan with some different stitches, basically a stitch sampler, so that we can practice those things. And I most likely will make it a baby blanket because that will be much easier for us to work on. Alright guys, that is it for the first Tunisian Tuesday. I hope you will join me in the future, and I'll see you again pretty soon. Now, I just want you to be able to feel comfortable to learn, and don't be afraid to experiment with your crochet, your knitting life. Learn some things. I'm going to be 65 next month, and I'm still learning things every day, knitting, crocheting. Don't be afraid to try. So let's use this year to learn something new. All right, I'll see you guys soon. Bye.